White ball!
So, to start us off, Mick, how does CrossFit benefit you in your Gaelic football career as an Antrim County player?
Well, I suppose I started CrossFit maybe 3 years ago, and the big benefit I found out of it was that, you know, within programming and coaching as a CrossFit gym, a CrossFit affiliate, there's no set way in which you're expected from CrossFit themselves to actually program your workouts. So us coming from sort of a football sport background, we program a lot of our stuff around, field specific. Okay. So I found over the last while, the big benefit I had over the last while was it introduced me to Olympic weightlifting, and we've obviously a lot of qualified Olympic weightlifting coaches and things like that. So I found from that, that's the biggest benefit that I've had out of CrossFit. I know a lot of people don't know how to coach it, but when coached right, it's probably the best way to develop strength and speed. And for me, that's how I found it. I found myself more flexible. I found myself doing movements that at the start I couldn't really do, and I've worked my way into that. And from that, I've grown a lot of flexibility through actually not doing any specific flexibility work or mobility drills.
Was there any additional workouts you'd have to do along with CrossFit, such as just throwing it in the air, maybe Pilates, or is there extra kind of Olympic lifting sessions you'd have to do in order to do those kind of movements that you mentioned?
Us as a gym as a whole, we offer obviously Pilates. We have two fully qualified body control Pilates instructors in the gym, and that comes as part of your package when you're a CrossFit member. But we also then schedule in specific Olympic weightlifting only classes that just basically concentrate and focus on Olympic weightlifting, and that's it. There's no other sort of general fitness aspects of it. It's just Olympic weightlifting. So you can do that, but suppose for the general gym goer, anybody trying to play a sport and incorporate CrossFit, it's hard to do everything. But in an ideal world, if you were a professional sports person, you would be doing all those things. But for me, I've noticed that all my lifts are going up. In terms of Olympic weightlifting, I found that to be the biggest benefit for me.
Is there an element to CrossFit that attracts so many Gaelic players? I mean, if you kind of look at the industry now, especially with CrossFit Cork, it's usually just flooded with Gaelic players just coming in and expecting an improvement straight away. Do you think that's kind of a lot of guys just saying this will help you as opposed to it actually benefiting a lot of players on the field?
The big thing about it, it's like everything. If you haven't done a lot of strength and conditioning work, and you come in to us or CrossFit anywhere, and the programming's right or correct, you'll find massive increases regardless of how specific it is. But we basically for players that are coming into new, they'll find themselves because a CrossFit class is made up of mobility. Generally every single session you'll work on a strength aspect, which is there's no high intensity work. It's just purely strength, whether it be back squatting or front squatting or deadlifting, trying to get those compound lifts up so you're getting stronger. And then we try then and take a wee bit of intensity into it and increase your conditioning and endurance and strength endurance. When we focus on all those, you find then that it will help everybody that comes in, regardless of what sport you are. If you have been or haven't been in any sort of strength and conditioning program before.
Do you think CrossFit would be one of the best ways for a Gaelic player to train? With the use of WODs and the ability to track their goals so much neater and tighter than just blatantly run circuits at everyday training. Do you think it's more tedious?
I think CrossFit's a better way than doing. CrossFit's definitely a better way than doing. Circuits or things that aren't empirical, things that you can't track and measure to see where am I going with this. And that's why I think CrossFit works for a lot of people. You know, you're tapping into a lot of domains of fitness.
Do you think as well that kind of element of community within CrossFit helps as well?
Massively.
Really?
Massively. You know, the reason CrossFit works is because of the community, and because of the people you're training with, and you get into sort of a cycle of training with the same people all the time. But at the end of the day, you want to come down and enjoy your training. If you're not enjoying it, you'll not do it. And I think, you know, CrossFit's a better way than just doing sort of circuit training or anything like that, because what we want to do is we want to be able to track how everybody's performing, and you want to be able to track that as well. Okay, so that really you want to know, if I start here, where am I at? Am I getting stronger? Am I getting fitter? Am I getting faster? Am I getting, you know, am I getting more powerful? We want to be able to measure all that.
Well, for our viewers who kind of just aren't familiar with the CrossFit sport itself, could you kind of just walk us through how you would hold a competitive class from start to finish?
So basically, as a whole in CrossFit we try to tap into all the physical skills of fitness. Okay, so at the end of the day, that, as I said earlier, that comes down to agility, balance, speed, power, strength, endurance, whatever way you want, cardiovascular work. So every single class on every single day is different, and to provide variety, to test you at different domains basically. So how we generally structure our classes, we'll come in as a group, we'll warm up as a group together, we'll do mobility as a group together, depending on what is in the what we have scheduled and programmed out. If it's a technical lift or anything, deadlifts, Olympic weightlifting, we'll run through a skills session with no weight, just to run through to try and clean up on a few aspects of your individual lift or whatever you're doing. Then we'll do a strength session. That could be anything, so it could be pull-up strength, it could be dips, it could be Olympic weightlifting, it can be deadlifts, back squats, front squats, presses, pulls, and then we try to go into generally speaking, we try to go into a high intensity workout based on how you perform within your strength.
Well, in regards to fitness itself, you know, the main components of the ideal Gaelic footballer is endurance, speed, flexibility and strength. How do you feel that CrossFit kind of covers these areas? In particular, is there like kind of a unique way that a Gaelic footballer should train within CrossFit, or can you just vary with anyone else?
Well, that's the thing. The CrossFit is brilliant for Gaelic footballers, and any because of generally, as I said, the strength and the Olympic weightlifting aspect of it. If it's coached right, probably the only downfall to it is that it concentrates on a lot of different aspects of fitness, and as a Gaelic footballer or as a field sport athlete, generally, as you say, you want to concentrate on strength, power and speed predominantly. So what we have done is we've tried to take the two and merge them into what we now know as Gaelic WOD, which we track online, and so any specific Gaelic footballers or field sport athletes that come in, we put them onto the Gaelic WOD app that we have and program. So really what that allows you to do is, instead of concentrating on a wide variety of physical skills, we try to predominantly focus then on, as you say, strength, speed and power.
Well, in comparison to other ways for a conditioning Gaelic player, CrossFit would be like a lot more dynamic with high intensity workouts. Do you think this is better suited for GA athletes as opposed to like a lot of strength training coaches who kind of preach saying you have to use this weight at a very low amount of reps, as opposed to CrossFit would be like a lot of reps, maybe higher low weight depending on the user. But do you think it's better suited for a Gaelic player?
No, well, to be honest, you know, again, concentrating on strength, you know, depending on the programming, you will go into workouts where it'll be high reps, but doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing for Gaelic footballers. You know, but predominantly, again, to focus on strength, you probably will need to drop the reps slightly. So that's why we try to incorporate the Gaelic WOD side of it, as opposed to Gaelic footballers not knowing what they're doing, coming into a programmed week of CrossFit, and by chance they fall into a workout that has a lot of back squatting on it, and then they go to train the next day and their legs are like lead, or whatever way you want to put it. So what we try to do then is take the two and, as I say, merge them into that Gaelic WOD program, and then it allows you to get a lot of strength, and it focuses on the right areas for you to perform as an athlete.
Finally, Mick, I'm just kind of going to put you in the spot here. Within the fitness industry, there's a lot of negative attitude from other styles of sport, such as strongman or bodybuilding, because people kind of think that CrossFit is just too intense. GAA training aside, do you think the sport is too intense?
Well, I suppose from our point of view, it's like anything. We pride ourselves on the level of coaching that we provide. You can open up the fanciest gym in the world and have all the fancy equipment in the world, but if you can't coach somebody the basics, and you can't take a certain movement or a certain aspect of CrossFit and portray it across to somebody so they can pick it up and you can coach them through it. If you can't do that, then it doesn't matter what you do in any sport, you're going to get injured. So from our point of view, we have all the qualified coaches in terms of Olympic weightlifting and CrossFit, and we find that if everything's coached right and advised right to all our clients, that there shouldn't be, the level of injury should be really, really low. Now, it doesn't matter what you do, whether it be a running club, bodybuilding, rowing, football, soccer, whatever you want to do, somebody's going to get injured. It's just going to happen. But from our point of view, we find that because if we program right, we advise our clients right, we know where they're at individually, then the level of injury is really, really low. So it all comes down to how well people are coached. And from our point of view, we find that our coaches are top of the range. So.
No, well, that's perfect. Thanks very much, Mick.
No bother.
That should be that.